We have here a lovely côte de boeuf or ribeye on the bone. Now, several names for this. We could also take it off the bone, call it a Scotch fillet, which is also another way to cook it much quicker. We're going to start by making a Café de Paris butter to go with our lovely steak. So we need to do this a little bit in advance, get it in the fridge, cool it down quickly. In the freezer it'd be even quicker. So we've got some butter at room temperature, some chopped garlic, capers, mustard and parsley. Very simply, mix all these together. Drop parsley in, and then depending on your preference, you can add salt, pepper, anchovies. If you want a little bit of spice, put some Worcestershire in there or some Tabasco. All these things are great condiments with our ribeye. We've got the ribeye tempering as well, so we're bringing it up to room temperature while we make our butter. It's important not to cook it straight from the fridge. It'll just help aid with the meat as we cook through. Cook a little quicker and also not cause as much stress on the meat, which will cause make it a little bit more tender at the end of the day. Just so everything's mixed through in our Café de Paris butter. So we're going to roll this out into a log now. A good little tip for this, just got a wet chucks here. Just rub it on the bench. Just provides a little bit of moisture, gives something for that cling film that we're going to use to stick to. Spread it out, keep it nice and flat. You can see how the moisture just helps get that cling film to stick. Butter straight on. Lift the cling film over the top. Then use your hands to pull it back. And then depending on how much butter you want, as to how narrow you make it. Roll it up. Squash the ends up so it's nice and compact. And then use anything you like, a little spoon even, just to break the cling film. Pull that away. Don't advise using a knife or you'll cut into your bench there. And then we have it, Café de Paris butter. So that's going to go straight into the freezer. Give it 20 minutes and we'll be ready to cut. Right, so our steak has come up to temperature. It's been on the bench for about 15 minutes, so it's not too cold. We're going to start by seasoning and olive oil in the steak before we go into a hot pan. We've got some olive oil. Don't be scared with the olive oil. Good bit of olive oil all over it. Get it right in there. This will help get the salt to stick. Now, if you think about how big a piece of meat we've got here, we're going to need quite a lot of salt. Don't be scared. A lot of this is going to come off in the cooking process as well. So, and then, depending on your preferences again, good bit of pepper all over. And then we've got a nice hot pan here. Good way to test the pan is just to run the steak. Make sure you get that good sizzle. If you've got that sizzle, you know your pan's hot enough. Now, a couple of myths with the steak, cooking of the steak, is that turning a lot of times is not a bad thing. We're going to turn it as many times as we like. This is going to stop the meat from graying on both sides. You know how sometimes you get that grayness on the edges of the steak? We don't like that. So we'll get the steak in. We're going to let that cook for about a minute and a half, then we'll turn it over, and then we'll turn it a few more times, and then we'll be done. So our Café de Paris butter has been in the freezer now for about 15 to 20 minutes. It's nice and hard. Our steak took about 15 minutes to cook. We finished it off in the oven for about 2 minutes. It's been resting for about 15 minutes as well. Important to rest the steak for as close to the cooking time as you can. It'll stop the bleeding out when you carve into it. So, Café de Paris butter, we're just going to unwrap this. Always nice to double check for cling film, make sure you didn't leave a bit. People don't like to eat it. We're going to carve our Café de Paris butter into nice pieces. And these are some lovely twice cooked chips here, very easy to do. Just parboil them in some water, a little bit of salt in the water, and then deep fry them at 180 degrees until they're nice golden brown. And just before they were ready, we threw in a little bit of rosemary. The rosemary gives a really nice aromatic crunch. Let's finish it off. A little bit of sea salt. Depending on how many chips you want. And then finish off with our Cafe de Paris butter. A few nice pieces on top there. In a moment that'll start to melt. Drop down into the steak. Be lovely, really good flavours. Perfect with a glass of Shiraz, Cab Sauv, whatever takes you.